Excuse you.
Are you going to put that in?
Yeah. Right?
Okay, so you're starting because mine's not working?
No, we can do Rochambeau. Is it 1, 2, 3, shoot?
No, it's rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, ready?
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
2 out of 3.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes. Here's all. So it's 1-1 now. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah. All right, I'll go first. Welcome to Overthink This podcast. My name is Kyle.
My name's Macy.
And we're here for another week. We got our influx coffee. It's butt ass early in the morning, but that's okay because that's when we decided our brains work the best.
It's only 8:22.
It's butt ass early. Just kidding. It's not that bad. So we're gonna try something a little different. This couple things different this week. I have a shaved head. I cut my hair.
Oh yeah.
So the grease monster under these headphones is now gone.
Put to rest.
So you're welcome, everyone. And we're gonna do single cam instead of multicam. The multicam wasn't really doing it for us.
In case you're one of the ones who watches on YouTube.
Yeah. Sorry, other people don't even care.
And you're starting first because you lost.
Yeah. So this week I have a little bit of a. Well, they don't know if it's a murder, but another mystery for
True
you.
crime.
All right. So this one is called The Boy in the Box.
Oh, I know.
AKA America's Unknown Child.
I know all about this one.
This is an interesting one. When I first heard it, I was kind of like, what in the world is going on? Especially with one of the facts that they, well, I don't know if it's a fact, but we'll see. The Boy in the Box is the name given to an unidentified murder victim, a 4 to 6-year-old boy whose naked, battered body was found in a bassinet box in the Fox Chase section of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on February 25th, 1957. He is also commonly called America's Unknown Child. His identity has never been discovered and the case remains open, which is weird. It's a pretty old case for them. Well, I guess don't all cases stay open until it's actually closed, or do they just become a different level of case, like a cold case?
Cold case, maybe, or they just. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it would be pretty unprofessional to just toss your hands up in the air and go. I don't know.
It's open, but nobody's actively looking because at this point in time,
we have no new leads.
Probably not around anymore,
or no new leads for like decades. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
There's nothing new. All right. February 1957, the boy wrapped in a plaid blanket was found in the woods off Susquehanna Road in Fox Chase, Philadelphia. The naked body was inside a cardboard box which had once contained a bassinet sold by J.C. Penney. The boy's hair had been recently cropped, possibly after death, as clumps of hair were stuck to the body. There were signs of severe malnourishment, as well as surgical scars on the ankle and groin, and an L-shaped scar under his chin.
But nothing was like removed.
What do you mean?
Like surgical scars?
No.
Like they didn't take anything out?
No, doesn't say anything about anything taken off of the boy other than the hair. Which is odd.
It is weird.
The body was discovered by a young man who was checking his muskrat traps. Fearing that the police would confiscate his traps because it was in a area he should have been doing that, he did not report what he had found. So since he found the body, but he wanted his goddamn muskrat.
I mean, I don't know if they had this back then, but the whole, like, if you know somebody who's dying of an overdose, like, you're not going to get in trouble for calling for help.
Yeah, they
So,
probably. This is
like, we
1956.
would rather have you just call the police.
Yeah.
Hide your muskrat traps.
Also, don't be a dick. Like, what is wrong with you? Call the police. Like, what are you doing? Forget your muskrat traps.
Did that guy look suspicious at all because of that?
The muskrat trap guy?
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know. Well, I don't know. I guess they found out who he was because it's in the report, but who knows? He was probably just said that and they were probably like, okay, fine. A few days later, a college student spotted a rabbit running into the underbrush. Knowing that there were animal traps in the area, he stopped his car to investigate and discovered the body. He too was reluctant to have any contact with the police, but he did report what he found the following day. Why do you wait a day too? What?
I'm just, like, what's coming to my mind is that they think that they're going to be accused of having something to do with it, because that is weird that he just like sees a rabbit run into the bush and he pulls over to go look. Like, that's not something I would ever do, even if I knew there was like if it was my traps.
Couple things,
but
I wonder if these gentlemen were people of color.
What time?
In 1957, Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like, I could see that being. It's gonna be pretty bad. Yeah, it wasn't very. Wasn't good. The investigation was officially opened on February 26, 1957. The body was fingerprinted, and the police assumed that they would find the identity quickly, but to no avail. Like, they thought they were gonna open and close this thing. Somebody was missing a child. It was gonna get figured out and all be good to go. That was not the case. The Philadelphia Inquirer printed 400,000 flyers with key identifiers, which were sent out and posted across the area, and were included with his photo and everything, and all the details were included in every gas bill in Philadelphia.
Which is crazy that even
the whole city.
All that, it's still.
Yeah. The crime scene was combed over and over again by 270 police academy recruits who discovered a man's blue corduroy cap, a child's scarf, a man's white handkerchief with the letter G in the corner, and even with all that manpower, all those, those clues and all the information out there in citywide, there is no clues to anywhere. Nothing. Just like nothing.
Yes, like he just appeared out of nowhere pretty much.
Yeah, or he's like a ghost baby from the future.
Ghost baby.
The police also distributed a post-mortem photograph, which is gross, but
yeah, I've seen it.
It's not
creepy.
Yeah, it's so creepy. I'm gonna put it up though, because it kind of nails home how weird this case is, where you look at him and it's weird. Postmortem photograph of the boy fully dressed in a seated position in hopes someone would identify him. The photo is terrifying. Yeah,
they used to do that in like Victorian era, so it's kind of weird. They went to that extent. We don't do that if there's an unidentified like Jane Doe out there. We're not like, oh, let's just dress her up and prop her up and then take a picture, see if anybody remembers her.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Despite the publicity and interest throughout the years, the boy's identity is still unknown. The case remains unsolved, as I've mentioned. So, coming out of all that, which is kind of quite a bit, they had a lot of coverage. There was so much coverage, which is weird to me that they don't know what is going on. It's so weird.
Well, it seems like somebody purposely put him there.
Yeah.
He was malnourished, so he wasn't being taken care of. He was neglected. And whoever put him there refused to come forward.
Mm-hmm. So now we're going to dive into the theories. Yes. So, theory 1. In 1960, Remington Bristow, an employee of the medical examiner's office who pursued the case until his death in 1993, contacted a New Jersey psychic who told him to look for a house that matched the foster home. When the psychic was brought to the Philadelphia Discovery site, she led Bristow directly to the foster home. So the psychic said, "Hey, look for a house that looks just like this." And then when the psychic was brought there, she was like, he or she, I don't think it says, was like, right there, that one. And so she pointed right to it. Upon attending an estate sale at the foster home, Bristow discovered a bassinet similar to the one sold at JCPenney. He also discovered blankets hanging on the clothesline that were similar to the one the boy's body had been wrapped in. Bristow believed that the boy belonged to the stepdaughter of the man who ran the foster home, and that they disposed of his body so the stepdaughter would not be exposed as an unwed mother. He theorized that the boy's death had been an accident, that they just were trying to cover up. Despite this circumstantial evidence, the police were not able to find many definite links between the boy in the box and the foster family. In 1998, Philadelphia Police Lieutenant Tom Augustine and several members of a group of retired policemen and profilers interviewed the foster father and stepdaughter whom he had married. So the foster father and the stepdaughter married each other, but there was no more evidence, so the foster home was let off. So what I think, if you go with this theory, I think that the foster father fathered the child to the stepdaughter, or with the stepdaughter. Yeah. And that's probably illegal. Who knows? Shit's pretty wild back then. But
and then let him live till he was 4.
Well, until he was going to start,
malnourished.
Until he was going to be identified as alive, because maybe they just had it in the had him in the house. Had him in the house, and then they could keep him under wraps until he's getting of a certain age, and then he's gonna want, he's gonna have to go to school, or they're gonna be like, "Where'd this kid come from?
Yeah,
who's this kid that you have in your foster home now?"
That's what I was saying earlier, is that this is definitely like an unwanted child because it's not taken care of, and probably was never.
Yeah, it was probably
registered.
That's what I'm saying. He was probably hidden. That's why he's malnourished. He's really small. He's pale.
That's why nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, because he was.
Did they ever do DNA testing later on?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, but that's exactly what I thought. The second I started going halfway through the story, I was like, DNA, duh. Theory number 2. The woman known as Martha, or M, which is another theory, was brought forward in February 2002 by a woman identified only as Martha. Police considered Martha's story to be plausible, but were troubled by her testimony as she had a history of mental illness. M claimed that her abusive mother had purchased the unknown boy, whose name was Jonathan, according to Martha, from his birth parents in the summer of 1954. Subsequently, the boy was subjected to extreme physical and sexual abuse for 2.5 years. One evening at dinner, the boy vomited up his meal of baked beans and was given a severe beating, with his head slammed against the floor until he was semi-conscious or semi-unconscious. He was given a bath, during which he died. These details matched information known only to the police, as the coroner had found that the boy's stomach contained the remains of baked beans and that his fingers were water-wrinkled.
So he was drowned?
Well, her story is lining up, and if these details weren't widely known, she knows them somehow. And if she grew up in a household that was like that, and now she is mentally ill, it's kind of
recurring.
Of course, of course she's a little mentally ill. You shouldn't take it because if that was the household,
but back then they didn't know how to handle mentally ill people and why they became mentally ill.
Yeah, they had no idea.
A result of trauma.
Yeah. M's mother cut the boy's distinctive long hair, accounting for the unprofessional haircut, which the police noted in their initial investigation in an effort to conceal his identity. M's mother forced M to assist her in dumping the boy's body in the Fox Chase area. M said that as they were preparing to remove the boy's body from the trunk of a car, a passing male motorist pulled alongside to inquire whether they needed help. M was ordered to stand in front of the car's license plate to shield it from view, while the mother convinced the would-be Good Samaritan that there was no problem. The man eventually drove off. This story corroborated confidential testimony given by a male witness in 1957 who said the body had been placed in the box previously discarded at the scene. In spite of the outward plausibility of M's confession, police were unable to verify her story. Neighbors who had access to M's house during the stated time period denied that there had been a young boy living there and dismissed M's claims as ridiculous. So she's nailing it. Pretty much every detail. Unknown stuff.
She doesn't know that this body's been found?
Or no, she does. She came forward about it. Okay. But the police are just saying,
unknown details to the public, like the scars and the haircut.
The baked beans. The watered fingernails or the watered wrinkled fingers, like little things like that. He had beans and baked beans in his stomach. She said he threw them up. That's why he got the beating that killed him.
Yeah.
So she's like nailing fact after fact, and they just chalk it up to ridiculous. Like what? What in the kind of police job is that?
Yeah, like, this seems like a more likely theory than a child who never existed based on the fact that he was like hidden.
The only thing I think that is a little far-fetched, or I guess not far-fetched, but hard to figure out, is that the mom bought the boy. Because you would be like, okay, where? And then why, and then go down that path. I mean, maybe there's people purchase kids, or like foster homes take on more kids than they can handle because they get paid more the more kids they have.
Did she say like her mom bought the boy because she was like taking money through like fostering, and that's how she like translated that?
It didn't say that, but
like not actually purchased him, but was getting money for having him in their home.
It said purchased him, so like she purchased the boy. I don't know if that was to go, no, this is my son, to the government, and then just getting a bit more assistance from the government, or what. That's kind of my theory about that part of that theory. Is like,
this story seems more likely to me than the first story.
Yes, the first theory, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So other theories. These are just kind of like smaller offhand theories. So one, forensic artist Frank Bender developed a theory that the victim may have been raised as a girl. The child's unprofessional haircut, which appeared to have been performed in haste, was the basis for the scenario, as well as the appearance of the eyebrows having been styled. In 2008, Bender released a sketch of the unidentified child with long hair reflecting the strands found on the body. So this one's weird because it's like,
where does that go though? Like
exactly. Like, okay, cool.
Is it just because they think maybe somebody will recognize this boy dressed as a girl instead?
Yeah, that's what I think his point is like, oh, this boy was raised as a girl, but because of the styled eyebrows
and the bad haircut,
that's a little that's a stretch. The second smaller theory. In 2016, two writers from Los Angeles, Jim Hoffman and Louis Romano, explained that they believe they had discovered a potential identity from Memphis, Tennessee, and requested that DNA be compared between the family members and the child. The lead was originally discovered by a Philadelphia man who introduced Romano to Hoffman, and was developed and presented with the help of Hoffman to the Philadelphia Police Department and the Vidocq Society in early 2013. In December 2013, Romano became aware of the lead and agreed to help the man from Philadelphia and Hoffman to obtain the DNA from this particular family member in January 2014. which was quickly sent to Philadelphia Police Department. Local authorities confirmed that they would investigate the lead, but said they would need to do more research on the circumstances surrounding the link to Memphis before comparing DNA. In December of 2017, Homicide Sergeant Bob Kuhlenmeyer confirmed that DNA taken from the Memphis man was compared to the Fox Chase boy, and there was no connection. So they did a small DNA run on a single family. So they have yet, to my knowledge now, I didn't see anything more current than that. That's actually where the story leaves off. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess there's nothing stopping them from taking the boy's DNA, which they clearly have, and running it up the chain.
But the problem is getting people who are willing to give DNA. So,
well, that's what the genealogy thing is like you can narrow it down, and then the last person you can point to, you get his DNA to match it. But yes, you need to like figure it out. So basically they just like narrow it down and then collect DNA. But I don't know. They haven't done that yet. Finally, we have the burial of the boy, since he was unidentified, unclaimed, and in a box. The boy in the box was originally buried in a potter's field, which is where they bury unclaimed, unidentified people. In 1998, his body was exhumed for the purpose of extracting his DNA, which was obtained from enamel on a tooth. He was reburied in Ivy Hill Cemetery in Cedar Brook, Philadelphia, which donated a large plot for him. The coffin, headstone, and funeral services were donated by the son of the man who had buried the boy in 1957. There was significant public attendance and media coverage at the reburial. The grave has a large headstone bearing the words "America's Unknown Child." City residents keep the grave decorated with flowers and stuffed animals. So poor guy.
Yeah.
A rough go. A couple of years on this earth was not.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
But at least people are giving him recognition now.
Well, do that DNA test. Let's go.
I don't think it's that simple.
Yeah, I think it's really expensive too.
DNA testing now is not very expensive, but for a case that is cold and not really going anywhere anyway, it seems like it's probably on the back burner.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, good job. My turn.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's hear it.
You may have already heard of this one, but I'm going to talk about the dancing plague of 1518.
I was there.
Oh my God, you were there. What was it like?
You know that movie 54 about Studio 54?
Nope.
Something like that.
Are you telling me you're from 1518?
No, I was born 1495.
Okay, so how old were you in 1518?
I was like 21.
I'm gonna get 23. Wait.
15.
I'm gonna get in trouble for not knowing this math. I think I did
23. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was 23. I was making the wine for it. So I was running the bar a little bit, but yeah, it was pretty chill.
Well, this is a plague.
Oh. Yeah, it was a plague.
Okay. All right, so 1518, we're in the Middle Ages. Life cannot get any worse at this point in history.
Or better if I'm serving you.
Stop it.
Okay.
Okay, so it all begins with the bizarre case of Frau Trophäa. I think I might be saying that right. Frau is like a German term for a woman. Just so you know, I take German.
Is it like that female singer, Frau?
No, it's Frau, like Frau.
Oh, she does Frou, I think. No, I think it's Frau.
Then maybe.
Okay.
All right, so Frau Trophäa in July of 1518 in Strasbourg, Germany, which is now modern-day France, begins dancing fervently in the street until she collapses of exhaustion. So she's just a regular housewife, living her life, and then one day she just starts dancing in the streets, and she doesn't stop until she collapses.
Yeah.
She stops for a few hours after collapsing to rest because her body can't take it anymore, and then gets up and starts doing it again the next day. Her feet are bloody and bruised, and a crowd forms around her as she is a seemingly insane woman. So everybody's just like, what is this lady doing? She won't stop dancing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Her poor husband's probably just like, please, you're making us look, because I'm sure this is like a small town where there's like rumors and everybody knows everybody and there's status, reputations.
Did it say what she was doing prior to dancing?
She is just a housewife. No, because
like that day. It doesn't say what she was doing that day.
No.
Okay.
Because this is 1518. While this event is documented, it's not like they went around and interviewed people. Like, what were you doing? Also, she's dancing and she's not stopping until she's collapsing. So I don't think she's answering questions. She's busy.
Dancing, yeah. Everybody's dancing.
Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. Dancing in the moonlight. Such a natural delight. A Walk to Remember. That's what that song
is. It?
It's in that movie.
That's a classic tale.
Okay, so Frau Trophia is dancing and she doesn't stop. Roughly 30 others join in and start dancing in this contagion.
So, okay. So I do know that I know this story, but this has never made any sense. I don't doubt that it didn't.
It did happen. It did happen.
No, I believe
documented.
That. No, I definitely believe that. It's just insane. Like, what is going on?
Who knows? And it's weird that it hasn't happened like since the Middle Ages.
Yeah. Did they all just get a hit of ecstasy and
get all right. There? All right. Okay, so it turns into a crisis that is like it's declared a problem by the city council that needs to be addressed because now you have like 30 people contagiously dancing and they're not stopping. So the council decides that the dancers need to dance it out. So they arrange for guild halls to open up where the dancers can gather in and bring musicians as well as other professional dancers to like help them. So they're bringing in music. They have professionals who are dancing with the like crazy dancing people. This actually exacerbated the contagion and about 400 people join in on this dancing compulsion. So they just made it worse.
Oh no. Backfired.
Yeah. People start dying of exhaustion, strokes, and heart attacks because they're dancing themselves to death. People are crying and screaming, wanting to stop, but they can't. And then at the height of the plague, as many as 15 people a day are dying from dancing. They're just going nuts.
Well, I don't. This story is so weird. I don't understand. Like I'm trying to think of like ways or reasons this is happening.
I know.
And since it hasn't happened since,
we don't really know.
Yeah, like this since it.
And this isn't the only dancing plague that has happened either. And like I said, it's well documented. So there's no speculation whether it actually happened or not. Like we're certain that it happened.
Yeah. And
similar manias took place in Switzerland, Germany, and the Netherlands, but they weren't as large or deadly as the one in 1518. There's another pretty well-known event besides this one that happened in 1374 and that spread to several towns along the Rhine River. So this one is like a good 130, 140 years earlier. Yeah, and this one's like, that's a huge separation. But also, life was rough in 1374. Probably worse than 1518.
No, 1518 is known as.
I guess that's when they had like the Black Plague.
Yeah. So like,
actually, let me look that
I
up.
think it's like 1536. They actually call the worst year in human history.
1536.
Yeah. It's just everything starts to melt down.
People were gross back then.
Well, yeah, people were gross. Like there was.
No. No, the Black Plague was 1346 to 1353.
What was the worst year in human history?
Worst? 2020.
Yeah.
We're in it.
Yeah.
Worst year in human history. It was 536.
536. Sorry about that.
Oh, extreme weather events probably caused by a volcanic eruption earlier in the year, causing
that's right.
average temperatures in Europe and China to decline, resulting in crop failures and famine for well over a year.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
So a lot of the earth was covered in like a volcanic haze, and everything died.
Wow, that sounds similar to right now. We're covered in ashy haze.
If you're on the West Coast in the U.S., we are covered in an ashy haze because of all the fires due to climate
when
change.
Is this podcast coming out? In a couple weeks from now? So who knows what's going to happen? No,
actually, this one will come out this coming Thursday.
Okay, this coming Thursday.
Which is September.
Yeah, just a disclaimer. We film our podcasts either in like chunks or the week before, so whatever current event is happening is probably not happening at the time the episode comes out. Just disclaimer.
Or we're like a week or two away from when it happened.
Yes. It's funny because I just Googled worst year in human history, and there's a bunch of, is 2020 the worst year ever in human history?
No, I think that 536 one is because literally their whole continents are covered in ash.
I'm gonna say,
and everything died.
As bad as it seems right now with the world burning down and the pandemic, I think we're still having a pretty good time as humans.
Yeah. Well, it's bad now, but like if something like 536 happened now, it would be a whole lot worse. Like there's definitely worse times.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I still woke up in a warm bed. Got a coffee from the coffee shop. Like, things aren't that.
We're okay.
It's okay. We'll get through it. There's just a few things to take care of. All right.
Okay, so let's just get down to explanations, because we already know that these people are dancing themselves to death and aren't stopping.
It's such a funny visual.
The first explanation includes demonic possession and overheated blood. So, of course, we're in 1518. There's a lot of
isn't Salem witch trials right around there?
That's the 1600s, and that's in America.
No, it was in
Salem witch trials is in America.
Well, witch trials, they happened all over though.
Yes, but so demonic possession. So people were thinking, like the doctors of the time were even like diagnosing them as like, oh, there's demons. There's demons present.
Those damn demons.
Modern day researchers think it's possible that they ate contaminated rye bread. So contaminated rye bread that had a fungal disease, ergot. Ergot is known to produce convulsions and hallucinations by causing ergotism. Ergot fungi has ergotamine, if I'm saying that right, which is structurally related to LSD-25. So psychoactive element in that fungus. There's two types of ergotism. The first type have symptoms that include muscle spasms, hallucinations, manic, and tremors. And then the second type has symptoms that include violent burning, shooting pain in distal organs, lack of circulation in fingers and toes, vasoconstriction leading to gangrene and limb loss. Other symptoms of that one also include severe uterine cramping. So it was used in the Middle Ages to induce abortions. So the ergotism does cause in muscle spasms and convulsions. However, what's different about the dancing plague is that it was dance-like movements, like rhythmic dancing. It wasn't just like how someone looks when they have a seizure and they're just convulsing like that.
Yeah, they weren't spasming.
No one would mistake that as dancing, right?
Not currently.
No, not even back then. They know what dancing was.
I mean,
they know what dancing is. So ergotism seems like sort of likely. However, it didn't it didn't fully fit the description of what was actually happening. Sociologist Robert Bartholomew has suggested that the dancers were dancing to attract divine favor. So,
oh Jesus, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, the just super religion and superstitious. So maybe these people were dancing to attract divine favor, but also like, why would they be dancing so hard until they physically collapse for that reason? Like,
because of divinity.
Extreme. That many people at the same time to be doing that seems a bit extreme. The most widely accepted theory is from John Waller, who said that the dancing plague is a form of mass psychogenic disorder. So again, this is a very stressful time. We're in the Middle Ages, which even for Middle Age standards, this point in time in Strasbourg was really bad. There was a series of famines, diseases like smallpox and syphilis. So people are just like stressed out and at the end of the rope.
So even that, not like that doesn't make like, oh, I'm so stressed out. Let me go dance.
It's like a mass psycho.
It doesn't make sense. Like the mass hysteria of stress. Like,
so like stress on top of, he also says there's a local belief that those who failed to gain the favor of Saint Vitus,
here we
who
go
was a Christian
again,
saint of epileptics and dancers and comedians, then they would be cursed to dancing. So like that belief on top of the stress kind of just pushed everybody into this like mass psychosis on top of these people believing that if they didn't please,
so you're saying it's something like to them it was something of like a rain dance.
So yeah,
just trying to like
sort of. It's like for their
get something happening, or
because they believe that they need to like please this divine person on top of being going through famine and smallpox and people dying, and it just produced this psychosis.
Right now, do we just need to get out there in the streets and start making it happen, or
maybe dance to the fire god and tone it down? We'll dance to the rain god.
Yeah,
Oregon is supposed to be getting rain next week, so let's.
Where my sister lives and my parents live, it's like monsooning. Send some this way.
That, yeah, we do. Happy fire season, everybody. Just kidding. It's not a good time. Okay.
That's not a thing.
Okay, just to wrap it up, there's some controversies over whether 15 people per day were actually dying. There doesn't appear to be any valid sources mentioning how many deaths, if any, occurred.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that there was deaths because I think people were not taking care of themselves and starving and dying of smallpox, plus dancing themselves to death. Like,
all of a sudden doing like 19 hours of cardio.
But 15, 15 people per day out of like 400 dancers seems like very extreme. There's a book about the plague written by John Waller called "A Time to Dance, A Time to Die."
This guy sounds like
the
a hack.
Extraordinary story of the dancing plague of 1518, where he talks about that the deaths were mentioned as recounts of the events after the fact. So like they weren't, while the event was being documented, they weren't saying like this many people died today. It was like an after the plague, people were remembering back and reporting on it.
Got it. Okay.
So there could be some embellishment.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a lot of stories from back then. It was almost like word of mouth for a while, and it was documented from person to person, and then
at least in 1518 we had paper.
Sure. Yeah. It wasn't like folklore.
We're not using like stones and writing
or just
in
your
cuneiform, the little triangles.
Yeah.
Other uncertainties include the initial dancer, Frau Trophia. So we don't even know if she was actual like start.
And did she die? Did you say?
There was really no mention.
Because you said she stopped and
she's dead by now.
Well, or she was on to something.
Or she's not.
Yeah, or she was right. She got that divinity dance.
And then they're also uncertain at how many dancers were actually involved. So all in all, it really happened. People danced until they died, but
so it sounds like you're saying they think a lady started dancing to her death, but they don't know if she didn't die. Then 30 people started dancing. Then 400 people started dancing. 15 people died today or didn't. And they're not even certain how many people were actually dancing.
Nope. But whatever happened was...
someone was dancing.
Somebody was dancing, or multiple people were dancing. Yeah. It was declared a crisis because it was... No matter the numbers,
something happened.
It was severe enough that it was a crisis that they decided to let people dance.
What I would say... Yeah. No, okay. So what I would say, I think, is there was dancing and someone died. Now, that could have been completely embellished into 400 people dancing, 15 people died a day. Or it could have just been like 30 people, as you initially said, and like 2 died.
What I want to know is why it hasn't happened since.
Because people aren't praying that hard anymore.
I wouldn't make that statement.
Why?
Because I think that people are somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it goes to what you were saying, that things aren't that bad. I don't know. I hardly believe that it's as serious as these stories account for.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. We won't know.
Anyway, that's all we have for this week.
Yeah. It's been a fun week.
See you next week.
All right. Bye.